have maybe some league action. You never know. Well, it could be NPFL, could be National League football, but just some football to keep that facility busy. And beyond that, we hope it will be maintained, and it will be something that, we'll still look back at a few years to come and say, well, yes, this is our stadium. Now, still talking about the league, Amara, let's talk about the story coming this afternoon. Now we're here at all the clubs in the Nigerian Professional Football League and PFL have proposed playing a bridge league for the 2022-23 season of the Nigerian top tier due to time constraint and the need to have uniform football calendar with the European leagues. The proposal outlined some of the issues club owners tabled before the new Nigeria Football Federation president, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, on Monday after a closed-door meeting at the Sunday Dankaro Football House in Abuja. Officials of the NPFL clubs talked about the proposal for their bridge league, which will be forwarded to the Interim Management Committee, IMC, for consideration, as well as the committee is inaugurated by the NFF president, with the league to be divided into two groups of 10 teams each. Now, how does that sound?
First up, I actually saw the list of requests by the club owners, basically. And then one thing that I just didn't see funny was the fact that they wanted to run the league by themselves. So they wanted to run the league by themselves, and that would be a little too much for me. I looked at their demands, lack of sponsorship, no TV broadcast, poor officiating, insufficient fund, and all of that. All of these problems have been outlined, which actually is very true, but deciding to run the league, by yourselves might just be a little too much for me. Our bridge league, well, it might not be up to standard, right? If you compare that with what's happening in other climes in Africa, not to talk of the world. But if you look at the fact that we in this country, we need a total, refurbishment. The league in this country needs not just refurbishment. We need a new league, basically, and then things should be done the right way. So if it will take us to have an abridged league for things to be done the right way, well, there's no problem. In Libya has an abridged league. They have Group A League and League B, and they're doing very well. So if in a bid to bring proper organization to the league, in a bid to bring everything good to this particular league, it has to be abridged. There's no problem for me.
No, Blyden, the abridged league is temporary. It's not a permanent thing, yeah? We know what's been going on. The change of leadership with regards to the Nigerian Football Federation, has in no way affected the football calendar here in the country as well. Now, a bridge version of league, have you got any concerns from your end?
Well, for me, first of all, I look at the purpose of everything. So if the purpose is clearly stated and won't be abused, then it's fine, because you look at it, for me, it's very good to have the calendar run simultaneously with what's happening in Europe and what's happening in other African countries. Because you look at CAF competitions or some of the Champions League competitions we have, and sometimes you realize Nigerian teams get to compete in these tournaments during off-season are not favorable towards these players because you don't have the players being fit. So from that angle too, I think it's okay, at least for an interim base or a short time, to have an abridged league. Another angle I could look at is it depends on the level of playoff they're going to play. That thing we do and call playoff, for me, isn't it for me, especially when you have an abridged league and you select a few teams, go to compete to get the champion. It doesn't really pay up for me. But if we can have a more suitable playoff system that works, it's equally going to be fine, because if you have an abridged league, what it means is you're playing lower numbers of games than it's supposed to be. On the other hand, I think from a club's point of view, you look at the expenditures of clubs when they're playing the full-blown league, teams moving from the south to the north, and how stressful it is in the long run.
And now that could be another advantage, Mari. Logistics will be cut.
Basically,
by almost half, because now we're talking maybe the farthest would go is the east.
I'm looking at the NNL system where they have the northern group and the southern group, which will make a lot of sense. The farthest will go will be the east. It will make sense because, as Blada said, we've seen cases where like a Quinetta, for instance, to travel to say Katsina State, and then their next match comes up on a Wednesday against, say, Kano Pillars. So they don't have to come back, they don't have to now stay, because it would take a lot. So I think all of that expenses would be curtailed, and that for me would be a very good thing, right, for the league. And like I said, if all of this would bring what we need in this league, because I saw the list of their requests, poor infrastructure, incompetent administrators, lack of match integrity, insufficient fund, and the rest of them. If all of this will be curtailed, if we have an abridged league, then they should go ahead.
Right. They also raised the concern about a league not being on TV. Made a case for the Ethiopian league, the Zambian league, Kenyan league, South African league, all running on TV. No interruption, and I showed on cable TV, other TV stations across the continent, and that's some experience that we haven't really had here. We thought the MPFL TV, would bring an end to some of those things we talked about, but thing was cut short. Also talked about beyond sponsorship, huge debts for match officials and staff of these craft LMC. Now let's talk about match officials now, because for me it doesn't make sense that let's say clubs are to bear the brunt of hosting these officials, and then let's talk about referees, for instance. So clubs bear the brunt of hosting these referees. So where then is a place where we say, okay, well, there should be fairness, because we know the thing, like it or leave it, even when it's not spelled out in clear terms. They say he who pays the piper
determines the tune.
calls the tune.
Yeah.
So well, he wouldn't say I must win, but it's a human being. Someone to treat you nice. So it feels like
it's showing kindness. Kindness back.
So they're boxing you into that place. Emotionally, you've been blackmailed. They're treating you nice. So when it gets to your own turn, you have to treat them nice as well. It just sounds fair, doesn't it?
It's basically the law of life. That's the law of life, and it doesn't make sense. But it goes on to what we'll always talk about: sponsorship. And you can't get sponsorship, you can't get the league on TV. Basically that. You can't get fairness, you can't get the league on the TV. That's basically where it can cause around. And for me, I think it's time, a lot of pressure on the NFF and all the organizing bodies taking care of the league. They ought to find a way to put our league on TV, to call for sponsorship deals, because that's basically it. We've gone past the era where you do things off TV and just off TV and expect to get those deals coming on. It will not. I want to sell my products, but how many people are going to see my products when I'm selling them, when you're using them, or you're promoting them? Just as we watch in the EPL. And the only way I have a number of people to watch and see it, and will be on TV, and afterwards club will start making a lot of money because the followership increases, and we might get to a point where we start talking about TV rights and all of that, as we hear in Europe, and better clients. For me, that's basically where we are. We have to fix the TV positioning of the league, and until we do that, we won't get the necessary result we ought to have.
Right, now let's still stay here. Well, it looks like the task for the new leadership of the NFF is quite an enormous one. Let's still stay, look at some of the things put in place to ensure proper functioning of our football here in the country. Another is president of the Football Federation here, appointing respective football administrator and chairman of Katsina State Football Association, Alhaji Aminu Balele Kofi, and sports marketing guru, Bukola Lopade, as part of a 3-man panel of advisors for preparations of age-grade national teams for upcoming major international competitions. Now, the panel also has Alhaji Abba Mukhtar. Now, this has been set up pending the composition of subcommittees by the new NFF Executive Committee, and the panel will be inaugurated later tomorrow, 20th October, at the NFF Secretariat by Alhaji Gusau himself. The under-23 national team, known as the Olympic Eagles, engaged their Tanzanian counterparts in a two-legged second-round fixture, starting with the first leg in Dar es Salaam on Sunday and return fixture in Ibadan next week, Saturday, and victory would guarantee the team progressing to the next round of qualifiers. The tournament scheduled for the Kingdom of Morocco from the 2nd to the 26th of November 2022. Now, the under-20, under-17 boys squads have qualified for the continental competitions, winning the respective WAFU B tournament earlier this year. The Flying Eagles conquered the continent in Niamey, in Niger Republic, while the under-17 boys, Golden Eaglets, were triumphant in Cape Coast, Ghana, in June as well. Now, Mari, I'd like to know what the the mandate would be, for this 3-man advisory committee and national team preparations. Now it clearly looks like what we always talk about in politics. Now he's coming, so he's looking to bring people on, especially people who some stepped down. Some names there were in the race for the NFF position, but it didn't happen. Does it sound like a football thing? Sounds like a compensation package just to make people happy, keep them engaged, so that the avenues to push cash around, make people smile.
No, unfortunately, Bright, even when I saw the story, first thing I came to mind was, politics first, basically, for them. Because, the political leaders, basically, if you look at it, they came through elections and then they played, the game of politics to get to that position. So they'll have to do, the political thing, carving out slots, for compensation for the people. But
securing the future.
Yeah, not just the future, securing, their allies.
Their political future.
Yeah, their political allies, basically, for me. So I think it's actually very sad, but I would always hope, right, because at this point in time, there's little or nothing we can do, right, other than to just hope and keep talking that they put football first. Because I look at on paper, prima facie, it looks like a beautiful idea. A group of individuals who've been around the Nigerian system come to advise the coaches on what to do and how to move the football forward. But deep down, we need a political thing. And these people might not contribute anything to the national team. So, well, let's just hope that they do the right thing. Because I would always say that if they put football first, all of this will not be happening. And it's sad that it's not even up to a month since Gusau came in and then we're getting these stories. I hope that they make the right decisions at the end of the day and realize that that office has got responsibilities.
Yeah, well, we know before now, there was the NFF Technical Committee, and basically handles stuff like this. But maybe this is an NFF Technical Committee in disguise.
So what about the technical committee? Because it's not been disbanded. The real technical committee. Well, still there.
Is that
was it a picnic thing?
Yeah, because it sounds like it's, it's an NFF technical committee, and then pinning goes, that should go now.
Well, it shouldn't. It's supposed to be institutionalized, basically.
Well, I do not know the order of creating it and disbanding it.
Jesus Christ,
Nigeria. Basically, doesn't really look professional. That's the way to use it. Doesn't really look professional. I look at it from this angle, just as Mari said, political compensation, one way or the other, saying, don't be angry, guys, let's get together and see how to push it forward. But in the long run, I really hope that it doesn't really get to interfere with the game. It doesn't really get to affect the national team sides and their performances moving forward from the under-17 to the under-20 and all the necessities thereof that's needed for the game for me.
Right, now, the Flamingos, according to NFF President Ibrahim Musa Gusau, was saying that they were motivated to beat the United States counterparts when the clash in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in India. The newly elected president said that the girls would give it their best shot and get the results that will fetch them a semi-final ticket, adding that the spirit is high in the camp in Goa. And all things being equal, we can go all the way to win the trophy, but we know all things can never be equal. All right, so let's quickly leave here and now head to Europe and look at football stories from there, beginning with the English Premier League. We had 2 fixtures yesterday. Well, it looks like same old. It's the same old Brighton. New manager, same old problem. We'll talk about that after now. blanks against Nottingham Forest was a 0-0 draw. Well, elsewhere, it was a combination of Berechi Eze and Wilfred Zaha combining to perfection, handing Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace a comeback win against Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Selhurst Park. Now, before we talk about the Derby, Blyden, let's talk about this Crystal Palace side and the fine job Patrick Vieira is doing within that football club. A young squad, you look at them, talented as they were. Wilfred Zaha, at the peak of it, we're seeing Hudson Edward coming from the Scottish Premier League, has done pretty well. Michael Ellis exposed to the league and doing great stuff. Berechi Eze. Well, looking at what happened last night, many are just wondering, well, this combination could be at the Super Eagles of Nigeria level. Well, before you talk about Crystal Palace and the win last night, let's talk about what that combination could potentially mean for the Super Eagles if it finally arrives.
Look at it. For a while, have clamored for Eze to be part of that national team, especially that midfield. Quality player, innate talent. For a while, I'm not seeing quality player with good talent. The players that are physical, they learn the game. But when you watch Eze play, you realize this boy is talented.
Like looks natural. Like
very natural, though not very flexible these days since he moved to the Premier League. When you watch him at QPR at the Championship, looks more like JJ Okocha at the time. Now he's drifting forward, typical of Premier League, a necessity for players. Drifting forward, moving up front, trying to score goals, but he's got the pass. That's the beauty for it, because I look at Joe Aribo from a Nigerian perspective, not very good with passing those scintillating balls up front for attackers to get on the reach. Maybe only Iwobi. And recently we've really complained about the midfield being weak when Wilfred Ndidi is not around. So now you have Berechi Eze being part of that mix. It makes it a bit more solid than it was. And you have options. And that's what makes great team, options. And for me, it would be a great addition to the national team. Not to talk of Olise. Exceptional players. Reminds me of the talent of the likes of Maris. With that left foot, scintillating, nice, the way he moves with the ball. Not playing based on physicality, but based on brains. Not long. When I look at the likes of Simon Moses, that just physical, not very adequate with their last balls, and you bring in Olise to give you the job, he's definitely going to make the Super Eagles better.
Let's look at England.
You look at Olise, you look at, Berechi Eze. Fine players going forward, but, clearly, many have said, they need to add goals to their games very, very importantly, because that's what stands out a lot of players these days. You see all of the hype. The Gavi, the Pedri, the Bellingham we talk about, there would be nothing if they don't add, build the goals. And
Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi spoil things.
Well, at least add some goals. Well, that's the truth, before now.
It was all about playing your football, give that sense, be dominant.
Until
and Cristiano Ronaldo came in, and Messi came in and started scoring 60 goals a season, scored the whole show for the rest.
Well, let's talk about the current reality.
And then Kylian Mbappe came in. The boy didn't slow down.
Yeah, he's scoring. Down a bit. Look at Haaland at City. Everybody's scoring.
So before now, everyone will be looking for a typical number 10 who would mix things in the middle, pass those balls in possessions, typical Xavi kind of player. But now, if you're keeping possession, you say you need to add goals to it. It's the same story with Iwobi. He's playing those passes, and everyone says he needs to add goals to it.
Well, look at the top midfielders of his who played at number 10 position. De Bruyne scores goals too. A lot of goals, basically.
Second top scorer last
Manchester
season.
United's Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, goals.
Goal scorer.
That's why
Chelsea's Mason Mount.
See what amazes me the most? You look at the performance of Zidane over the years. And if you've not watched Zidane, you might have well thought Frank Lampard was a far better midfielder than Zidane because of the number of goals he scored. But come on, Zidane was so superb.
That's the truth. Willian has more goals than Ronaldinho in the Champions League. And back then, it wasn't about goals. It was about impact.
It was about dominance.
Impact in games, unfortunately. Well,
Messi and Ronaldo, I can forgive them.
The reality.
I remember we had this conversation, I think it was sometime last year when Thiago Alcantara came out and then he complained saying, well, creativity is slowly dying in football these days because,
everybody wants to score goals.
The pace of the game, talked about the pace of the game, and can't allow you the opportunity of holding onto the ball and then creating, doing one or two. Let's say step overs, for instance. Football was more about artistry growing up, and it used to be enjoyable. But these days, fans are more interested in, what's the scoreline, please?
Yeah, I think football is about numbers now. It's about numbers now, basically.
I also think before that it was about individual ability. Now there's much clamor about hard work and teamwork. So it's changed the entire dynamic. So you have teams begin to build an entirety of machinery.
Yeah, because that's the word now. I think it was Kylian Mbappe also talked about it. That it's more about machine these days.
Yeah.
Clubs and coaches are looking to make machines of players. So we're looking at the player that would arrive the box the fastest.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about players who can throw the longest balls.
Yeah. Players who put the fastest passes.
Yeah, very technical. So we're not talking about connecting 20 passes to get to the box. I remember Ernesto Valverde talked about it at one point. He said, when he was asked about playing direct at Barca, he said, I don't need 50 passes to get to the opponent box. One pass can get me there. So why waste 50 passes? One ball through the top, and then that's it. It just tells the story of where football is these days. Well, that's
it reminds me of the days Jorginho was kicking 10,000 passes a match. I never gave any pass to the goal. And fans were complaining. He said, we don't need your 10,000 passes in a match.
Even Jorginho is scoring goals.
But Jorginho these days now understands, you
have to flip the pass to the attack.
Forward passes. And then we're talking about key passes in the final third.
Yeah.
So it's going to push a lot higher.
But it was more beautiful, right, James?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
I watched it. I really miss watching football and seeing Ronaldinho do the stuff he did.
Yeah.
I miss watching football, see Luis Figo move the way he moved.
Yeah.
I miss watching football, seeing Zidane turn 360 repeatedly on the field of play.
Mary, but these days we sit here and then we accuse Neymar of showboating. Isn't that double standards?
Neymar's case is different. Neymar's case is different. The problem isn't the skill.
Yeah. Well,
the problem is doing the skill to what end?
Yeah,
that has been the problem with Neymar.
I think first off, when it comes to skill and all of that, what's the intent? And then what's the aim of doing a skill when you're supposed to be direct?
Mary was just supposed to.
The reality is playing direct.
But the skill is just supposed to entertain us now. It's not supposed to do much.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily about entertainment.
Now, in an era,
damaging the psychology of the opening.
In an era where we're not even seeing things like that anymore. It's dying.
Yeah, not when your team needs to go.
It's
dying.
Not just dying. It's extinct.
Now,
that's the word.
Now, I see a lot of Man United fans complaining about Anthony.
Yeah.
Anytime he gets in the ball, I hear.
They say he's not a serious player.
No. What I hear, why I watch football, they say, but now what YouTuber me.
Yeah, it reminds me. Mary uses it a lot.
He plays for YouTube.
He plays for YouTube.
But I think that also addresses the reality that people just want to see goals.
Yeah.
They don't care about what you're trying to do, the kind of skills you're trying to do. But I think I'm still a sucker for skills. I love this kind of artistic display of football, but not when your team needs to score goals.
I mean, it showed mastery. Yeah. Now it's just a wild green. Everyone is just running.
Yeah.
Now football is all about running. Oh, press. And I see Jose Mourinho stand on the bench and he's saying, let's press. I'm saying, what are you guys doing? Is this how you used to do yesteryears?
Right.
Pressing.
Let's have a general conversation now while we consider other fixtures from the Premier League. Well, we hear Arsenal versus Manchester City is supposed to be the blockbuster clash for this midweek. It's been postponed. And now we hear now the fixture has been postponed and for the fourth title in 5 seasons. The City have long anticipated that, but that won't go down. Now, what we had the other time was the Queen's death, and then we had the Europa League, fixture not going down. So Arsenal's fixture has been rearranged. So that's why Arsenal would be in action this particular midweek. But elsewhere, Bournemouth taking Southampton later tonight. Liverpool taking West Ham, Brentford, Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton, and the biggest fixture for tonight would be Manchester United at Old Trafford hosting Tottenham Sports Desk. Leeds United versus Leicester City and Fulham as available. These 2 fixtures will come up later tomorrow. Let's get talking now. All right, welcome football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us now. Welcome. Hello, welcome. Well, I could bet connected that. Hello, can hear you. What's your name? Where are you calling us from? All right.
Very great in the show. I also want to congratulate the Nottingham Forest for stepping up their game. To draw title and Apex Stadium is not an easy feat. Congratulations to Chelsea tonight for now. I'm going to claim all 3 things back.
All right, thank you very much, Ifeok, for joining.
Hello, good afternoon, Brian.
Victor, the Sport Oracle, talk to us.
Good afternoon, Arizona and Ida clients in the studio, Brian. It's a great time, Brian, to join you. Let me say something very clearly that we should not take it so lightly. The remaining 2 teams that are Griffiths and Bayelsa United. Plateau United. Remember the story before they could have crashed out from the CAF Champions League, and people have asked questions. If we go and report to CAF doesn't take action, or they said they should do what they did to us when we go to their home. So that should not be the best solution. I believe that for the Rivers United to try and play their match, and let us here in Nigeria must do our best for us to reopen our league and make it a standard so that people there in other countries must also know that we know the business. Let me say Brentford against Chelsea is going to be a great match. Later on, Potter came out with good selection, the best practice. I wish Chelsea a maximum 3 for next match. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation this afternoon. We thoroughly appreciate you a great deal. Also, Arsenal are taking PSV Eindhoven later tomorrow, so that's why the Man City Arsenal clash has been postponed. So Arsenal risks forfeiting points because of those concerns. So the Premier League had to make this adjustment just to accommodate Arsenal's European ambitions as well. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello, good afternoon, by James.
Thank you for joining.
Yes, I'm by name of an email calling from Geneva. Yeah, I used my team today the maximum 3 points. Chelsea, thank you for having me.
All right,
and
thank
for
you.
Man, you go collect you. So that's it. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you a great deal as well. Blyden, it was 2 words. You know, I had clients, and then there was politely.
Yeah, I
Well, the name is Blyden. Yeah, the name is Blyden. Okay. Yeah, Blyden. So,
Can just say bly for short.
okay.
Make it easy for you.
It's expanded. You know, Solox joins the show, and then we'll have Emmanuel that's joined sometimes for morning work, and then we'll also have Bob joining. So I just get familiar with the names, right? Welcome, football fan. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, this is Mr. Kong, Bright James. Good afternoon.
Mr. Kong, good to have you join us.
Thank you. I'm coming. I want to talk about my match against Man United. Tottenham taking on Man United. I can recall this same fixture in 2020-2021 at the same venue where Tottenham went there and completely demolished Man United. I know they may not be able to get the same number of goals, but I want them to go to Old Trafford and come back with 3 points, which is my concern. But for the Arsenal match to be postponed, I'm not very happy because they have allowed that match, to go on for Arsenal to go and test their might, whether federal might or state might. So I'm not very happy. Not very happy for that postponement of the match. So up Tottenham. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kong. I was like, that sounded like Ochelino. Well, he said it's Mr. Kong. Who are we to argue? Yeah, thank you, Nelson, for joining.
Thank you very much. But there is no comparison unfortunately, the war. There is no comparison at all. Let's talk about the Arsenal postponed match. I'm happy that match is postponed. I really want Arsenal to go for the Europa title. Talking about the CPL, although we are leading the back now, I'm not sure. I am not sure. Let's get the back between Arsenal and City. Massively, I am a donor. The citizens are better than us, so I am not sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nelson, for joining. We appreciate you. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello. Good afternoon, by Jim.
Yeah, welcome.
My Zena and my friend in the studio. My name is Joe, listening and calling from Ipanya.
Welcome, Joe, from Ipanya.
Yes, thank you, Bryce. Bryce, I think art history, which comes as a result of the 15th master of the game, to me, brings beauty to that game. That is why some of us that for Michael Lindsay and the great Chelsea, I think there will be two good additives to the Super Eagles if they are there because of their excellent performance and this issue of this attitude, as we've seen the display in their foreign club. For Chelsea and Brentford, I wish Chelsea the best this evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Joe, for joining. We appreciate you. We'll look at team news in a bit. Welcome, football fan. Your name, your location. Hello, we got you. Talk to us. No, that connection is quite poor. Please try to call us back, all right? So we could have a conversation at least. Welcome.
Yeah, this is Matthew from Uyo.
Matthew, good to have you join us.
Liverpool fan. I don't know why Angelino changed his name.
Well, that man says he's mistaken, so we can't argue his name with him.
He was resembled Angelino.
Yes, if I'm confused myself. I asked, but well, he said he's mistaken. Let's allow him.
Okay, no, I wish Liverpool, since we play Rangers finish for Champions League, Liverpool pick four. We go beat West Ham. We are climbing high. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. We appreciate you. Welcome, football fan. Name and location, Mari, check out Facebook for us, all right? So that I have the comments from there as well. Right, so I'll keep the conversations flowing in on Facebook on the 101.1FM sport page and the Planet Radio 101.1FM Uyo. You drop the comment, we'll take them as they come. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello, good afternoon, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Okay, that is an area I'm calling from Obama.
Nedi, welcome.
Thank you, Brad. I want to talk about the postponement of the Arsenal game. I don't like the way the postponed that game.
How?
I like that
Now, let me explain. Let me explain now.
In fact, I don't like the postponement.
Wait now.
I knew this would happen.
Wait now.
I knew this would happen.
Okay, thank you, Nedi. But just listen. Now, Arsenal playing the Europa League tomorrow because of the Queen's death and then logistic arrangements. So there was no adequate security to prosecute that Premier League game. So it had to be postponed. That Europa League game, I beg for pardon, against PSV Eindhoven. And now, UEFA came out with a statement. Well, we can't fix another date for you.
It has to be tomorrow.
Yeah, so it has to be that day or you forfeit the points. And now the Premier League, being a domestic league, looking at how to help their teams and their chances in Europe, said, well, we can shift the Premier League, this fixture against City, to accommodate you play. Arsenal are built to play tomorrow. Is it really possible for Arsenal to play Man City today and play PSV Eindhoven tomorrow? Let's try now. So it's not like an Ojoro kind of thing. I know what they say about outstanding. Yeah. Welcome, football fan.
I'm happy. Because United and Plateau United to comfort Libyan opposition. My advice to them is to win the game at home. If the first leg will start from home, they should not concede at home. Rivers United create an embarrassing situation by losing Woffley to Raja Casablanca. For Crystal Palace, right, since the arrival of Patrick Vieira, Arsenal legend, he has turned the fortune of that club around, despite having short of material. A good coach brings the best out of a promising player like Ebere Keze and Lizard. But give Patrick Vieira enough funds to go transfer market will make a big impact in the EPL. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, that big funds could be set up as well because it comes with expectation. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. All right. Well, that connection is poor. Let's see if we can do it manual.
You know, when the ball flows and you enjoy the game of the game, the moment you start to change,
Sorry. that connection is really poor. It's poor. We can't take it. We can't make sense of what you're saying.
Hello.
Yes. Okay.
Hello.
Oh, please walk away from your radio set or turn down the volume on your listening device. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Let me tell my you found that they are playing Premier League today, not Champions League, because some of them I think they are playing Champions League because it's Wednesday.
Voila, my brother. This voila, no go ever finish. Now let's talk about the fixtures for versus Tottenham Hotspurs, and now let's consider team news. We hear, according to reports, that Christian Eriksen trained yesterday after missing the draw with Newcastle through illness. His unit assessing before being selected against his former club in Spurs. Scott McTominay returns from a ban, but Donny van de Beek, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Anthony Martial and Harry Maguire sidelined. Cristiano Ronaldo is unlikely to start all 3 games in the space of 7 days, so he may actually drop to the bench here. Now for the visitors, Richarlison was forced off in Saturday's 2-0 win over Everton and is ruled out here, as is the case for Japhet Tanganga. Then Kulusevski wasn't fit enough for the bench at the weekend, so remains a doubt for their away side. Emerson Royal serves the third of a 3-match ban. Cracking fixture. Now, we know how Spurs play. They would sit back and look to catch United on break, and that's been dangerous. United, haven't really found a way to handle the team that sit back to subdue the pressure and then hit them on the break. Now, that's United's system. That's how they play against big teams. Let's say Spurs is a big team, but that's how Spurs play. So what happens later is not blinding.
Well, basically, both teams come with the same style of play for me. United are not an all-going side. They're looking for that sharp counter. Rashford takes on, runs into the opposition's defense, gets a goal, and a slip pass probably from Bruno Fernandes. That's how they play. And from Tottenham Hotspur to similar scenarios, the setback, allow Harry Kane to drift in, and just hope that Son Heung-min would find a way to dance around and kick that outside 18 stunner and get a result in the long run. But basically, I'm expecting a high-level football game. Sadly, some of the players' big names won't be available, but good Rashford is back to that side, and McTominay, he's been the shining light in the midfield this season for them. I'm happy that he's back. So let's have a competitive game. For me, I do not know where it would turn to, but it's quite competitive from our outlook. What I want to see, let me say this, I think it's going to be a huge pointer to what could happen in the nearest future for both sides. If Tottenham plays better than United and get a good result, it could influence their positioning in the league more than we expect and set them at pace, give more confidence to the side. From a United's point of view, it's the same thing. There have been a lot of uncertainties. If they really work today out, it could set a different template for them this season.
And now let's talk about two teams that had their fair share of struggles earlier in the season, but it looks like they're finding their footing now. The clash at Anfield between Liverpool and West Ham United. West Ham looked terrible the first 5 games, looked really toothless in attack, but looks like the new signings are integrating bit by bit, and form has come at a very good time for Liverpool, fresh off beating Manchester City over the weekend. Will we see the Liverpool that we saw early part of this particular season, or the Liverpool that beat City, which will turn up later tonight against West Ham?
I'm expecting the Liverpool against City, because that game was an eye-opener, was a more robust win for them. So I'm expecting them to take cue from that game and continue to grind consistently from there. So I'm expecting that kind of performance. But West Ham are not pushovers as well. They've won at least, I think, 4 of their last 5 games, competition. So they're gradually getting back their form, and they'll be fancying a chance of even defeating Liverpool if they can later today. So I'm not expecting Liverpool to back out right now, because, defeating City was all they needed to get themselves back on track, and they did that in very good fashion. So they should take cue from there. For West Ham, like you said, some key players are performing for them. Lucas Paqueta has been really good since joining. You talk about Skamaka, who was injured at some point, was gradually getting back to full fitness. Saido Berama, fine player for me. He's been doing very well since, getting playing time right there. So it might be an interesting, a proper end-to-end football match I'm expecting, because both teams kind of play the same way. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I don't expect Liverpool to go back to their shell, because they've come out. They should consistently come out like that until the very end. For West Ham, put up a fight, But I think if they go down, it will go down with a real fight.
Now, let's talk about Chelsea. Wesley Fofana and N'Golo Kante remain sidelined. N'Golo, we understand, would miss the World Cup. Is out for the next 4 months. Hakim Ziyech has missed Chelsea's last 2 matches through illness and remains in doubt here. Reece James is to be out of action for a number of weeks, which has also cast suspicion as to whether or not to be fit for the World Cup. Thiago Silva felt some tightness in his hamstring on Sunday, but it's been cleared to play here if picked. Now, for the hosts, Christian Norgard remains out. Thomas Skrakosha has an ankle injury. Pontus Janssen and Aaron Hickey will both be out until after the World Cup. Scans show Hickey has damaged his ankle ligament, while Janssen injured his hamstring against Bournemouth. Now, before we talk about that game, let's talk about a player. He scored 6 goals in the Premier League this particular season and has a 100% penalty record. We're talking Ivan Toney, the Brentford striker. Chelsea had taken Brentford, and now it is on record that only Dimitar Berbatov and Yaya Toure have scored more penalties than him. I mean, 100% record. Yaya Toure and Dimitar Berbatov, 11 from 11 for Manchester United, Spurs, and Yaya Toure with Manchester City. Now, this man is a dead ball specialist of no mean repute.
Well, I wish it wasn't for penalties, it was for free kicks. Would have been more scary. But penalties, almost certain a player would score, but good performance, a good record for him.
Now, there you go.
Good record for him.
There you go with that thing.
But it's what it is, because you look at it.
Jorginho would be very, I don't know, happy with what Bladner said, because it's penalty, denied the Italians from playing the World Cup.
Even the best, and no disrespect, but Jorginho ranks there. No matter how you feel about him, from the sports.
Yes, scoring 20 out of 20 penalties for Brentford is a no mean feat.
Now,
it's a no mean feat.
If you have plethora of players and then you have a penalty, Jorginho will be one of those guys you want out there.
Jorginho is Chelsea's number 1 penalty taker, despite all of this.
But despite that, there's been a few hitches.
But I want to look at Ivan Toney beyond penalty kicking. But for me, quality player.
When you see him take free kicks, well, Mile hit, it hasn't really gotten that conversion rate. Yeah. But you look at his free kicks. It tells you, wow, this guy has been doing some practice off the pitch.
Surely, and Brentford is not just about Toney.
Yeah.
From our standpoint, you see the collection of those black players. They can run you riot. That's what I love about Brentford. Watch a game against Brighton. Brighton were keeping possession. Brentford were running them riot, getting the goals, running behind defenders and getting those goals. And that's what football is all about at the end of the day. It's all about putting the balls at the back of the net. But looking at Chelsea, have to talk about it. Recent times, there have been positive talks about Graham Potter. When he came along, a lot of people were so uncertain about him. I was one of them. But now I can say, maybe from a Chelsea point of view, in Graham we trust. Because this is what he's been doing. This is the beauty about Graham Potter. Doesn't look outspoken. Doesn't come with a huge character and presence. But they seem like pretenders at first. Before you know it, bang, is a goal. And it's been positive for Chelsea in the last few matches. Who knows what could happen? But Brentford would be such a stain test. But I expect Chelsea to win in the long run.
All right, so we'll take 2 calls. And Mari would breeze through the comments on Facebook. Welcome, football fan.
Good afternoon once again, Brian.
Thank you for joining us. Take 30, please.
Yes, it's Rumor once again. I was saying that a lot of change in football this time due to a number of factors. What actually engaged me to Barca was their taking style of play. But you can't have that now without goals. Because the white super section will not be happy with you if the team does not score. And it will go a long way to affect the prospects of the betters and what have you. I'm talking about,
no intent to call you short there, then that means Pep Guardiola and City deserve extra credit. They get the goals they get, but they also play beautiful football.
Definitely, those guys are still playing beautiful football. But tomorrow, I can't really love Chelsea part time because Brian myself usually plays mechanical football. Can let us follow, some kind of Mourinho's pattern. Boom, all he cares about is goals. He does not care about the beauty of the football. He frankly enjoy it. To me, I love Arsenal. I love Barca. That's what football should be about. It should be about the beauty of the game. Let the fan also enjoy those beautiful songs like one of your guests said there. Again, go back up the controls, Jerry Jose. Those guys were superb then. But now you can't have individual creativity like that again. Look at this Ronaldinho run from the exit was massive.
All right. Thank you very much for joining each other. We appreciate you, Mari. Let's go to Facebook.
Body Alex on the live feed says someone hearing what I'm hearing. Otuli is transforming to Mr. Ekong. My brother, Mr. Mo, is nowhere to be found. How time flies bright. A lot of people are not happy to see Arsenal on the top. The drama will last. They should calm down. We're here. Show some respect, brothers. Excel the Great says, I wish my team Man United 3 points in today's match up the Reds. And Subaru says, wait, are you guys saying that Eze and Olise has accepted to play for Nigeria? Not yet. We're just
thinking of the prospect.
Thinking out loud. Apollo says, I wish Man United to win against Tottenham tonight. Please to give Arsenal a gap. Yubi Akan says, Real Madrid striker Benzema won his first career Ballon d'Or on Monday, October 17, becoming the second oldest player to win. They were at the age of 34. Well, telling us some stats there. But that's it from the live feed, right? Few minutes to go to the sports page because it's supposed to publish there.
All right, so let's sneak this in. Welcome, football fan. Name, location.
Thank you very much. Right. I'm Nigerian fan.
Oh, welcome, Nigerian fan.
Thank you so much. I'm coming for under 17 football match. I believe Nigerian Prime Eagle is a very good team performance. He was performed very well to play this match and successful, make them balance and defend the ball, and to win Man USA. And my prediction to Nigerians to win USA 3-1. My name is Ridina Gafnati.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you, Mari. Let's go to the sports page.
Yeah, the sports page. Skira Akbabi says, good afternoon, sports crew. This Kante injury has tired me. I think it's right time for the board to look for his replacement. They can go for Declan Rice. I want to wish Chelsea victory later today. Daniel Chen says, just hope Man United will pay the maximum 3 points against Tottenham today. Bakayoko Patoski says, I want to comment on Chelsea against Brentford. I want my coach to select good players for the game tonight. I wish them the best. The comrade Joshua Bassi says Nigerian League management should put things right. Support what the management of Nigerian clubs are doing. The league should be properly arranged not to correspond with other leagues in the world. Kingsley Omar says, I really feel for Kante. I wish this report to be reversed before the World Cup. I wish Chelsea successful outing tonight. Inji Melidan says, so sad for Kante. We Chelsea fans will need replacement for Kante. Wishing my team Chelsea all 3 points later today. Apollo Selisha says, I want to say congrats to the Big Bens for winning 2020 Ballon d'Or. As my United game till 90 plus. I don't know what that means. Abraham Adodi says, I don't have much to say. I just want to wish my team a victorious outing later today. Glory, glory, Manchester United. Good news also says this Kante injury issue is beginning to get us fans worried. I urge my coach Potter to do everything possible to win today's game. Congrats to Benzema. Jerry says, I can't listen to you guys from the radio anymore. I don't know why I'm really missing Planet. I'm in Calabar. Yagan Obasi says, ahead of today's encounter between my dear team Manchester United and Tottenham, although I don't know who will officiate the match, but all I know is 3 points to be counted for United. Based on Bassi says, Zidane said Benzema is the greatest striker of all time, so disrespect to Henry. The greatest French striker of all time, so disrespectful to Henry. So thank you, Harit Ziyech. Thank you, Mana and Sisong Ikan.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for joining now. Beyond the Premier League, let's look at La Liga. Valladolid taking Celta Vigo. Cadiz are in action tonight. They're taking Real Betis. Sociedad taking Mallorca. Elche hosts Real Madrid. In the Belgian Jupiter League, Union Saint-Galois taking Ghent. Michelin taking Standard Liège, and Club Brugge taking Saint Suriden. The fixtures for you tonight. Or go do business and pray for greens. The story of this man. We're talking Paulo Nuacho scoring twice, while Ghanaian Joseph Pansio was also on target for providing 2 assists. Genk thrust Waterloo by 6 goals to 1. Blyden, before we go, we can't entirely rule this man out. At some point, if he keeps up these numbers, he needs to look in.
He's a big man. That's the way to describe Paulo Nacho. I remember the first time he stepped on the Nigerian soil playing for the Super Eagles.
Yeah, against
Scored that wonderful goal against
Second
Egypt.
fastest goal in international football.
Against Egypt. That was his first goal against
Yeah.
Egypt in the
Yeah.
friendly match in
Yeah,
Delta
well, the
State.
fastest goal was against Poland.
Okay.
Yeah, it was against Poland.
Yeah.
Afterwards, went to the Nations Cup, quite disappointing. They have enough confidence, but he's been doing it in Europe, in Gang, exceptional player over time. I really missed him during the World Cup qualifiers because of that injury he had. Best player in Belgium. Speak volume about the player. He's got height. He can score with the foot. He can score with the head. That's how important Paulo Nacho is. I think in the long run, he's going to be a lot of difference for the Super Eagles.
All right, thank you very much, Mari, joining the conversation this afternoon.
Yeah, happy
Thoroughly
birthday,
appreciate you.
Victor.
No.
Today's Victor's birthday, Victor
Today's-
White.
Today's Victor's birthday.
Yeah, today's Victor's birthday.
Oh, so we'll ball then.
Well, I don't know for
Yeah,
the
we'll
man.
ball. Happy birthday, Victor. We ball.
Yeah.
Which is ball.
Happy birthday, Victor.
Yeah, I have my best wishes.
Get to
for-
know this Victor.
Yeah, for everyone celebrating, well, you have my best wishes. Catch us if you can on Spectrum Television, channel 136 in Star Times from 5 to 6:30 for Battle of the Fans. I'm Bryce James. I'm out.